Occasionally, when a child suffers extreme emotional trauma, instead of experiencing post-traumatic stress, their personality shatters, shattering into fragments, becoming archetypes called alters. They usually fit into categories like protective, aggressive, innocent. You get the point. This is a severe mental illness not easily understood. Its name is dissociative identity disorder, and I live with it. This is Maxwell. He was the first one to show up when I was a kid. When I'm scared, he shows up. He's brave for me so I don't have to be, fighting all my monsters for me. Max is actually my favorite alter. He's so sweet and he shows up to visit the most. I think he hasn't aged since I was a kid because that's when he showed up. He will forever be that age even as I grow, forever being my young little protector. Zoe was the next alter to show up. She doesn't show up as much anymore, but occasionally when I'm overwhelmed with stress, she makes an appearance. Growing up, she didn't necessarily help me win popularity contests. My therapist and I have come to the conclusion that Zoe was created for two reasons. One being the emotional support pet role manifesting into an alter, the other being somewhat of a Stockholm Syndrome situation, loving my abusers like a loyal, loving dog would. And this is Norma. She's the last alter that came into my life, but she wasn't like the others. She was mean.
I don't care. I don't need anybody. I don't need you. Fuck you. I don't care. Fuck you.
I didn't know I had dissociative identity disorder until I was an adult and started seeing my psychologist. So before then, I didn't know why I would black out and wake up in random places having no memory of how I got there. Norma was a depressed soul, and I realized that's why I would wake up feeling hungover or with scars at times. I was always anxious and depressed, and I didn't feel like myself. I thought maybe I was bipolar, but when my psychologist explained my diagnosis to me, I completely lost it. All of those movies and misconceptions portray people with multiple personalities as dangerous, insane, like monsters. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I struggled with this mental illness in silence for so many years in fear of what people may think if they ever found out. Eventually, I was able to cope with the fact that I had this disorder. I actually came to be grateful for the coping mechanism that is dissociative identity disorder. If it wasn't for my alters, I would have had to take on all the abuse, all the trauma, all the painful memories that live with my alters, and not with me. As I grew and learned to accept my alters, Norma in turn learned to accept herself. She changed. She was no longer abusive to either of us. She grew into the caring and motherly figure that I always wanted. As for Maxwell, I owe my life to him. I love Zoe and Norma, but Maxwell has a special place in my heart. This brave little prince has rescued me from the very beginning, and although I don't need him as much anymore these days, I still enjoy his presence from time to time. He keeps me brave.